What is up, and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog Fantasy Pick'em plays for Friday, January 24th, 2024. I also got plays for Saturday. I got plays for Sunday. I got some long shot plays. I got some tennis plays. I got the major sports. I got everything that you could be interested in for this weekend of Underdog entries. Hit one yesterday, hit one of the NBA's entries yesterday. That was nice. Got some refunds due to Novak Djokovic pulling out of his match as well, which isn't that nice because I thought we were going to win those. But hey, whatever. More ammo in the chamber. I continue to add more NFL entries today to go with the 4 we've already released this week. And NHL, NBA, everything else that you could want to be entering on Underdog this weekend. So yeah, if you're new, use promo code DAILYDOG, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com. All right, I'll start out with the 2 new Underdog NFL entries, then go back and recap what we've done already this week. I added Austin Ekeler higher than 4.5 receptions with Kenneth Gainwell higher than 8.5 rushing yards in that NFC Championship game. Ekeler, I think that he's going to have a big game. He played against the Eagles once this year. He had 8 catches in that game. I think that he's a matchup they have to try to exploit in this. It's going to be tough sledding, just pure running and pure passing against this Eagles defense. I think Ekeler is the one spot where they can try to exploit a matchup and try to get some big chunk plays with him running out of the backfield. I really love Ekeler to have a big game here from a yards and yardage, both rushing and mostly receiving though perspective. And then also I think that this alt higher than 4.5 receptions is a good spot to plant the flag because again, I think that he's going to have 3+ receptions in each half of this game. Then I'm with Kenneth Gainwell higher than 8.5 rushing yards. This guy, when he comes in, he makes plays, makes stuff happen. Obviously, Saquon Barkley with his massive 126.5 rushing yards number is going to attract a lot of attention. But Kenneth Gainwell does get work, especially if the Eagles get ahead. Gainwell is going to be working. So I really think that 8.5 is way too low because he could literally do this in 2 carries, no problem. He could do this in 1 carry, no problem. So give me Kenny Gainwell higher than 8.5 rushing yards with Austin Ekeler higher than 4.5 receptions, 5.91x multiplier. The second one I added, another backup running back, Ray Davis, higher than 9.5 rushing yards against the Chiefs. Ray Davis gets work for this team. Again, 4 or 5 carries here, 9.5 yards, no problem for Ray Davis against the Chiefs. I know the D is good. I know their rush D is good. But again, I just think that having Josh Allen in the backfield means you can't necessarily key in on the running back, especially if there's an RPO or a pure read option. So Ray Davis, higher than 9.5 rushing yards, very low number. I think that he's going to get plenty of work to get this thing done. Obviously, he's not the primary back, but again, they still use him. They work him into the game plan every single week. That one paired with DeAndre Hopkins, higher than 2.5 receptions. As you know, earlier this week, I got in on DeAndre Hopkins receiving yards, higher than 2.5 receptions. He only had 1 target last week. This number is so suppressed. I love this with DeAndre Hopkins. I think that this is going to be more offensive game than what we saw with the Chiefs against the Texans. So give me Nuke Hopkins, higher than 2.5 receptions, 3+ catches in this game. All right, some of the ones we put in early. One of the first entry I put in this week, Austin Ekeler higher than 47.5 rushing plus receiving combo yards. Harrison Butker higher than 1.5 field goals. Still love this one. I think Ekeler is due for 30, 35 receiving yards and 20+ rushing yards. So 47.5 way too low. I think it's 46.5 right now on Underdog. So you can get even a better number than I did. But again, I think Ekeler is going to be just fine in this matchup. I think he's going to be one of the bright spots for the offense of this Commanders team. And Butker higher than 1.5 field goals. Playoff game in Arrowhead, cold weather. Harrison Butker knows how to deal with these conditions. He's a clutch Super Bowl winning kicker. Give me Butker higher than 1.5 field goals here. That's 3x multiplier. Also took Saquon Barkley lower than 126.5 rushing yards. This number's been ticking up, ticking down all week. Just too high of a number. I know he's averaging like 129 yards per game this year, but playoff game, I think the Commanders know that they can't let him beat you. And Saquon Barkley, as my partner on Just Win Sports said, he is a feast or famine running back for the most part. He gets these 60-yarders, but he has a lot of negative plays as well when he tries to do too much. 126.5. This guy could have a massive game with 3 touchdowns and 40 receiving yards and 115 rushing, and we're still going to stay under here. So give me 126.5 rushing yards lower for Saquon Barkley. Pairing that with Isiah Pacheco higher than 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns. They love Pacheco for his tough running in these playoff scenarios in around the goal line. He runs angry. He runs like he's mad at the ground. Pacheco higher than 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns here. That's a 4.05x multiplier. The Wednesday NFL entry was Zach Ertz higher than 3.5 receptions. Again, him and Ekeler, I think, are going to be the 2 best matchups for the Commanders in this game. So I think they're going to throw to him plenty of times in this one, higher than 3.5 receptions. Pairing out with DeAndre Hopkins higher than 22.5 receiving yards. I know I have receptions on the entry for today, yards here. Again, I think DeAndre Hopkins' one target game last week was an anomaly. It's not going to be the same here. Higher than 22.5 receiving yards. If he gets 3 receptions, he's getting this. He can get this on 1 reception. So give me DeAndre Hopkins higher than 22.5 receiving yards. That's 3x multiplier. And then yesterday's NFL entry, Brian Robinson lower than 31.5 rushing yards. And then Khalil Shakir higher, 54.5 receiving yards. Sorry, it was Brian Robinson lower than 37.5 rushing yards. Khalil Shakir higher than 54.5 receiving yards. Basically, I think that Brian Robinson is going to have tough sledding. His style just does not really fit what the Eagles or what you can do against the Eagles. He's gone over this in one of the games versus the Eagles and went under it on the other. Neither one of those games, he averaged more than 4 yards per carry. Tough sledding for Brian Robinson. I think he's going to be somewhere in like the 12 for 28 range in this game, as sad as that sounds. Khalil Shakir, the freestyle offense, him and Josh Allen run is awesome. I think Shakir is going to be one of the guys who's making some big plays for the Bills in this tough game against the Chiefs. That's a 3x multiplier. All right, enough NFL. Wow, we spent 60% of the show talking about the NFL. Let's get into NBA today. NBA, number 1, Jarrett Allen higher than 14.5 points as the Cavaliers take on the Sixers. I think the Sixers are going to get smoked in this game. I think Jarrett Allen is going to have a big game inside. Obviously, no Joel Embiid. Lots of room to work for the big man, Jarrett Allen. Pairing that with LaMelo Ball higher than 8.5 assists. LaMelo Ball still dealing with a little bit of a wrist injury. You know what? If you had a right-handed wrist injury, if you got a little wrist injury, it's a lot easier to pass the ball than it is to shoot it with some touch. Give me LaMelo Ball higher than 8.5 assists with Jarrett Allen higher than 14.5 points. That's a 3x multiplier. NBA number 2, Kelly Oubre Jr. higher than 1.5 3-pointers made for the 76ers. Again, I think that they're going to be in a tough spot against the Cavs. They're going to have to shoot a lot of threes. You know, Paul George should be out there. Maxey should be out there. But Oubre, he needs to hit 2 3-pointers here. He's done it one of the 2 games he's played against the Cavs this year. Let's see if he gets back to his 3-point hot streak here and get 2 made for us. I think that this is a game where he's going to have to do it. So if they're going to be competitive at all, or if they're going to put any points up at all, they're going to have to be good from 3. And I think Oubre can be a big part of that. Pairing that with Zach Edey, higher than 15.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The big man from Memphis, who I didn't even know was going to be a good pro, honestly, has actually got a role on this really good Memphis Grizzlies team. The Pelicans are coming to town. Pelicans are not good. This could be a blowout situation, and I think Edey could get substantial minutes here. So higher than 15.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's just get a double-double. Keep it simple, Edey. 3.69x multiplier. All right, off to the NHL. We're going to go with Matt Duchene, higher than 0.5 points as the Stars host the Golden Knights. Stars are kind of a conundrum of a team, but they are very good on home ice. The Golden Knights found something yesterday, but it's a back-to-back. I think Duchene, the leading point man for the Stars, has a good chance to continue his point-getting ways here. Give me Matt Duchene, higher than 0.5 points. Pairing that with Connor Bedard, higher than 0.5 assists as the Blackhawks host the Lightning. Bedard, 28 assists on the year. Lightning on a road spot. They're a team that I like at home, much more on the road. The Blackhawks have been competitive lately, not necessarily winning all their games, but they've been playing hard. Bedard coming along, obviously, you know, he was the future of hockey when he was drafted first overall 2 seasons ago. I think he's still advancing. He's the leading point man for this Blackhawks team. And as I said, 28 assists, so you can't sniff at that. That's a 3.19x multiplier. NHL number 2, Ilya Sorokin, lower than 2.5 goals against as the Flyers travel to New York on a back-to-back. Sorokin, obviously a very good player. Islanders, not a team I love offensively, but they do suppress goals very, very well. Ilya Sorokin, very good goaltender. The Flyers did get embarrassed yesterday, but I don't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily mean to me that they're going to come out here and have an offensive masterpiece by any means. I just don't think the Flyers are that good, taking huge steps back from last season. Pairing that with Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets as they host the Utah Hockey Club, higher than 0.5 assists. That is a 3x multiplier. I think Winnipeg is going to crush Utah today. NHL or Saturday tennis, actually. This is the middle of the night for most of us in the United States. Arina Sabalenka, lower than 0.5 sets lost. I think Madison Keys has had a wonderful Australian Open. I think that she's going to hit a wall here against Arina Sabalenka. That said, I think Madison Keys is going to have higher than 4.0 aces. That is her bread and butter. That's her only shot. The problem is I don't know what she's going to have on return, and I don't know how many double faults are going to be coming with these 4 aces. So I think that she's going to get the 4 aces over the course of 2 sets, but I don't think she's going to win a set. So that's a 3x multiplier. Arina Sabalenka lower than 0.5 sets lost, and Madison Keys higher than 4.0 aces. It's kind of negatively correlated, but not really. It's only 4 aces. That's only 4 points in the course of several sets. So 3x multiplier there in Australian Open women's tennis. NBA Saturday, Miles Turner higher than 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He had a terrible rebounding game in the first game of this Paris series. He had only 3 boards. If he would have had even a normal number of boards, he would have gone over his 23.5 very, very easily. I think there's a good shot for him to rebound and get more boards here as he's adjusted to the Paris climate. And pairing that with Victor Wembanyama higher than 29.5 points. This whole series is about Victor Wembanyama. The dude is going to have another great game. I mean, the whole reason they're there is because of him. He's not going to be meek with the ball. He's going to score points. So Miles Turner higher than 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Victor Wembanyama higher than 29.5 points, 3.15x multiplier. And you know what? I had to throw in a lotto entry for Friday, including a college hoops pick. We're going to go with Jason Robertson of the Stars, higher than 0.5 goals. Kyle Connor, the guy we had an assist earlier, we have him to go score a goal in this one. I think, again, the Jets are going to score 5 goals in this game, so Kyle Connor is going to be heavily involved. CJ McCollum, higher than 29.5 points. Again, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies getting a lot of high-scoring games. 2, CJ McCollum has to be the alpha dog here with all the injuries Pelicans are facing, higher than 29.5 points. And Vlad Golden of Michigan as they go to Purdue in a tough road Big Ten game. Vlad Golden higher than 1.5 turnovers, 22.98x multiplier. All right, that's all I got for you today. Let's make some money this weekend.